Hey, what's going on? I work 12 to 14-hour days, so I'm not making as many videos as I would like. There's been a couple of videos I've been wanting to make recently, and I don't remember what they are, so I'm not making a video on any of them. What I am making a video on is is about work, and I hated work for my whole life. I hated shit jobs. I hated school. I I I I couldn't get along in any of it, and I always seemed to land up in a job that was the worst possible fit with the worst possible people. And if I was lucky, I'd land up in a job where it was like a good fit, or it was cool, but then something would change within just a few weeks or a month. Somebody would leave, the boss that I got along with, or there'd be some policy, or I'd get to a job. This used to happen. I'd get to a job only to find out that like it was ideal up until like some passing of the torch that happened before I got there, and that the job would have been kick ass had I only known about it like a year before or whatever. And so I always constantly felt like I was behind the eight ball or missing out, or I missed the boat, or mostly it was just I was exhausted. I was exhausted, and it just felt draining, and the time just drug on, and I felt underappreciated and undervalued, and it didn't matter how hard I worked. The boss would always find me in like the one moment that I wasn't busting my ass, and so like the perception of me as an employee would have been forever ruined, or I would find myself in these jobs where like my immediate superior was just a fucking dick, and I felt like I couldn't do anything about it. And the idea of the idea of saving money when I was making minimum wage just felt impossible, and I couldn't get my needs met, and I mean scraping by didn't even begin to cut the mustard. And what goes hand in hand with shitty jobs is like being shitty with money, and so there's all the financial problems that come along with that, and I really felt like everything was working against me. And what I look at and I felt stuck for a really, really, really long time. And fast forward through tons of tons of work on myself. I've done tons of work on myself over the last nearly 2 decades or whatever, 17 years. And I'm in a much different position now. I I uh, I love what I do, and I can work all fucking day, and it doesn't bother me at all. And that idea inspired me to make a video, because it's like I remember how much it sucks to be in a shit job. And whenever I see somebody who's in a shit job and they fucking hate their life and they hate their boss and they hate their job and they don't want to fucking be there, I mean, like, I just want to tell them, like, dude, you're in the wrong line of work. Like, if you fucking hate your job, do something else. And I know that, like, when I hated my job, when I was in that kind of mind frame or mindset or perception of reality, or just living in that existence, my options were so narrowed, and like they weren't as narrow as they felt, but they were still it's still narrow. So I get it. I get how it's like, well, what the fuck else am I gonna do? There's nothing else for me to do, and my and I couldn't think my way into a better job. And And looking back, I can see how my problems were indirectly solved, how my work problem was solved as a byproduct of all this other stuff happening. And I can see how you know, and I like what I do now for a living. I remember exactly what I thought about that when I was younger. You know, and it was like I was afraid that I was going to ruin what I loved if I did it for a job. And fuck, I don't I it's not ruined at all. And there's many things that I've loved to do over my lifetime, right? Like there's many things that when I was younger, I was like, well, I love all this. I love all this stuff. You know, it could. There's many directions that I could go. You know, which one do I pick? That was another problem of mine. It was like, well, there's all this stuff that I enjoy. Um, you know, I couldn't possibly do all of them, or even you know, half of them all at once. It was like it was overwhelming. And you know, maybe I could have done two at a time. You know, really, I couldn't even do any of them at a time, or maybe even one if I was lucky. But that's the thing is, it's like I kept trying different things until I found something that I like, and I think that's important. You know, it's like if if you don't know where to go, you know, okay, so this so I was also afraid of like making a mistake, you know, and like doing something wrong, or investing a ton of time or money or energy, you know, and be like, well, I don't want to, I don't want to, I don't want to invest a year of my life only for me to find out that I fucking hate something. And it's like, well, so what if I did? You know, I mean, it's like, it's better than staying in something that I already fucking hate, you know, and and I needed to take the opportunity. I needed to take that risk in order to eventually get through enough things to where I found something that brings me a lot of satisfaction, and pays me a living wage, pays me a good living wage. And that's another thing that I couldn't that I didn't know at the time, is that there's so much money out there. There's so much money out there doing all sorts of innocuous things that you wouldn't have ever guessed. I would have never guessed that I could make the money that I get to make doing what I do. There's tons of jobs like that. And another thing I didn't understand is that healthy, stable work environments where people have their shit together and they treat, and by and large, most everyone treats each other with respect and stuff like that. They don't like working with other crazy people. So I had to become a better human being in order to get a better job. And because one of the things that I hate about shitty jobs is it attracts shitty people, and poverty, elitist mentality, and competitive thinking, and bullies, and people who want to use their position as an opportunity to abuse other people, verbally or emotionally or whatever, and I don't fucking take that shit from anybody. And I remember when I was younger, I went through like 30 jobs in the course of just a few years. It's just one fucking shit show after another. And but an idea that's kind of floating in my head that I want to toss out there before I wrap this up is that I didn't have to get fancy degrees, or extensive schooling or anything else to land the job that I have today. But what I did have to do is be able to get along with people better. Be able to convey ideas in a clear way, and know what those ideas are that are of value. Like I interview really well today. For much of my life, I did not. And I remember being confused by like business language and stuff like that. And that's not what I had to get good at. I thought that's what it was, and I thought it was like I don't know the specific word, but I just thought it was just embellished and dishonest. And a lot of corporate language is just that. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is I had to, I, I, I got to this place where I realized it was like really clear and simple. It was like, I gotta let these guys know that I'm a grown up. I can keep my mouth shut. I can show up to work on time, and I can do what they fucking pay me to do, and and not create any unnecessary waves in the process. Like I'm not there to gossip. I'm not there to take people hostage. I'm not there to fucking dump my bullshit or fucking joke about things that shouldn't be joked with people who didn't want to hear it, or be able to just be able to like show up and be present and watch other people do stuff and figure out like, okay, who are the people that have their shit together, and who are the people I need to avoid altogether completely, and that and just clear out enough bullshit from my own fucking life to be able to just be a normal human being and a normal guy. I know a lot of people create problems that get in the way of their own life, completely unnecessary. It's just unnecessarily. People, like being bad with money gets in the way of your fucking life. If you're overdrafting your fucking checking account, like that's gonna get in the way of your life. You don't have to have tons of fucking money to not overdraft your checking account. Like, what helped me is that before I spent any money, I would call my bank with the automated thing and just see how much was in there, just so that I had a mental note. Because every time I go grocery shopping, I think that like, oh, I have this much money or whatever. I mean, it's just keep just little simple things, creating little simple habits radically change stuff over time. And a lot of growth comes from that. And a lot of people talk about, in order to be successful, it's about doing the little stuff over a long period of time. It really is. It's all about the little stuff. Rome wasn't built in a day. How does a mouse eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And it feels overwhelming. It's like, God, my life sucks. I feel like a mess. How the fuck am I going to change? Like, I have all this bullshit that I'm trying to like run away from or hide from myself or hide from other people. Like everybody has shit that they have to deal with and they think they're the only ones. And it's like clearing that shit out of our lives, being brave enough and honest enough to be able to work on that shit, that makes life so much fucking easier. And it's like, well, how the fuck do I do that? It's like, any way that you can. I mean, any little way that you can, it eventually makes our lives easier. And not having chaotic relationships. That fucking gets in the way of life. It gets in the way of work. Fucking not being a fucking drug addict or a fucking alcoholic. Like that's just an accumulation of being in so much fucking denial that the person can't fucking manage their emotional well-being any other way. It's like it's a vain attempt at an emotional hygiene. That gets in the way of fucking work. Um, there's like uh there's um there's so many things that that people do that just unnecessarily makes their lives harder. And I'm glad that I'm glad that my life is simple today. I'm glad that I've done the hard work that it took to just be a normal dude with normal dude problems. I get to go to a job that I fucking love, and I could be there 12 to 14 hours a day and it doesn't fucking wear me out. I don't feel emotionally spent. I don't feel burnout. I mean, I couldn't work a part-time job that I fucking hated. I could not be at a part-time job. 4 hours was an eternity. I couldn't even do it. I hated it that much. And I'm telling you, if you fucking hate your job that much, you are doing the wrong thing. And there's a fucking job out there. You don't have to be a movie star. You don't have to have some like grandiose, materialistic fucking job, some job of grandeur in order to make a good fucking living for yourself and to be able to provide for a family and to be able to invest in yourself and flourish. There's plenty of good jobs out there, and a lot of it is clearing enough bullshit out of. I had to clear enough bullshit out of my life to be able to be receptive and be and be received. And it's just and it just everything fell into place. Everything fell into place, and it's like it was almost effortless. And I wish I could go back in time like 20 years and tell myself, dude, do the thing that you fucking love. The barrier to entry is nowhere near as steep as it fucking feels. And to be able to show myself, dude, there's all these other resources out there that of people who are willing to help you. And that's another thing. That's another thing. I felt so alone and I was crippled by that. I thought that I had to do everything all by myself. And what I realized is there are so many fucking organizations out there to help all sorts of people to be able to achieve stuff. And it's like and I know through my own journey that if you're in a position of needing help, part of the like the double-edged sword of that is you don't even know what you're fucking missing. So how do you even seek it out? You don't even have the language to even ask for what you don't know that you need. And so, but the thing is it's like there's so many people and so many organizations and so much money out there that is set for your specific situation, and it's so easy. It's not this like there's no crazy mountain of impossible paperwork that I have to fucking sift through to be able to access that, or that you have to sift through. Like you don't have to fucking understand it all by yourself. And if you don't understand something, ask. Be like, hey, what does this mean? Usually most of it, it's just like they just want your name and your address and your social security number, and it's for bureaucratic paperwork stuff. It's just check the fucking box. They don't care. They're not there to judge you. They're not there to tell you no. They're there to help you. And so ask them, like, hey, what do I need to do to get you to say yes? Can you help me do this? Say yes. And it's like that's what they're there for. And like there's a lot of that stuff isn't accessed because people don't know that it exists. They don't know how easy it is, and they don't believe that they're good enough, or they don't believe that they deserve it, or that they're worthy, or people don't access that stuff because of their pride. That's a number one huge thing. They're like, oh well, they have this faulty story in their brain that's like, oh, well, no, that's not for me. That's for those people. Or, oh, I'm better than that. It's like, no, motherfucker. Like, it's for anyone. Like, if you need it, why not? Why reject free money? Like, you're a fucking idiot if you are rejecting something that is there specifically to help someone in your specific situation. Like, if you can't fucking pay your electric bill, don't punish your fucking kids by getting the electricity turned off because you're too fucking stubborn to take a fucking handout. Like, it's like you're only teaching your kids that they're not worthy of fucking of having somebody fucking help them. Like you should feel like a piece of shit if you're mooching off of the system and you're consistently fucking relying on other people to fucking do something for you. But if you're in a situation where, like, if you're presented with a situation where someone's like, hey, you need training to fucking get this job, like, it's like, I didn't know how to invest in myself. I thought investing in myself was like gaining something. And it's like, it's only investing in myself if what I'm gaining is knowledge. I didn't know how to invest in myself for a long time. And for a long time, I didn't know that I was investing in myself. It was something that I had to come to realize. And it's like, if I got money to spend, like, am I going to spend it on a thing? Like, something that I don't really need, but something that I like or something that I want? Or am I going to spend it on something that's going to benefit me in the long run? I had to learn how to incrementally chip away at something over a long period of time. Like, I could only do short-term gratification. I had no idea. I wasn't capable of long-term gratification. I thought that I had to do it perfect the first time. That got in the way of me doing a lot of stuff. I couldn't fail. I had to learn how to fail. I had to learn how to fail and not beat myself up. I had to learn how to fail and learn that that's okay. That, like, that's how people learn. That if I failed, it wasn't it's not like it wasn't a fundamental a reflection of who I fundamentally am. It didn't mean that I was a failure. It didn't mean that I was flawed or that I was a mistake or that I was broken. It took me a long time to get through that. And I can tell when somebody's struggling with that. And I had so much judgment in my head towards myself. And I thought other people were judging me. That's a huge barrier for people. In so many parts of life, I'll see that pop up in other people. They'll say something and I'm like, oh, you think we're all judging you and you're really just judging yourself. You're being crazy and you think we're the assholes. Right, tight. Okay, got it. Like, I can see what's going on. And that gets in the way of people being successful. There's so many more things that I thought I was just gonna make a quick little video saying, hey, if you hate your fucking job, quit it and go do something else. There's something else out there that you fucking love. It'll be awesome. Just fucking do it. And, like, I know that my fear stopped me so many times. So I get it. I understand you're afraid. I understand that you have, like, attachments, and I understand that there's, expectations and all this stuff. But at the end of the day, it's like, whose fucking life is it? Whose fucking life is it? Like, do you want to please, your girlfriend or your mom or your dad or your fucking, or your peer group? Or do you want to please yourself? Like, I think codependency gets in the way of a lot of people's hopes and dreams or ambitions or ideas. It's like, fuck all that shit, man. Like, fucking get rid of everything and fucking move to some crazy foreign island and shuttle people back and forth on a fucking raft. Like if that's what you want to do, fucking go try it. Like, there's there's so many more possibilities in the world, so much more friendly place, and, like, I I was overwhelmed. It's like, well, what the fuck do I do? How do I make money? I don't know. It's like, people say, oh, follow your heart. And I mean, there's, take a handful of the things that you fucking love to do, whether it be a hobby or whatever, and like dive into it. Cause there is tons of money to be made following your joy. And if you don't have any joy, because apparently there's people out there that don't really fucking love doing anything, which is strange to me. But from what I know, I guess there's a lot of people out there that don't that aren't passionate about anything. It's like, just try new stuff. That's all anything is. That's all life is. Is like, it's about learning, and it's about exploring, and there's no wrong answer. Like, go fucking do whatever the fuck you want to do, and eventually, through a bunch of trial and error, you'll just organically land up in something that's best for you. And if you don't feel good about what you're doing, and if you don't feel good where you're at, fucking leave. So many. I mean, I'm glad that like I was stubborn enough to just fucking crash and burn so many times when I was younger, because at least it got me out of the situation of being in a shitty job that I fucking hated. Oh my God. And like, I've met people in my life that were like at some shitty job, and they were out there for like a really long time, like 6 months or 2 years or 5 years or inconceivable amounts of times. Like, dude, if you fucking hate it, why are you there? Leave. Fucking leave. Tell your boss he's a fucking asshole and fucking quit. Fuck that job. Fuck that douchebag. Even if you like the job but you fucking hate your boss, fucking quit and go to a different company. There are good people out there that will treat you with respect. If you don't like your fucking boss, leave. And if you keep getting the same shitty, dickhead fucking boss over and over again, then you're doing something. You haven't learned something yet that allows you to be able to get into a job where you'll be treated better and be around better people. And in my experience, I had to try a couple times before I fucking got that next slot in life, before I got to that next level, before I grew. It wasn't super clean. There was like a lot of, every step has been trial and error. Like, almost, got it. Nope, fell. Okay, now I'm at the next thing. So, just be forewarned that like, it's going to be hard. It's going to be difficult. You're going to feel like quitting. You're going to feel angry. You're going to feel sad. You're going to feel frustrated. You're going to want to be hard on yourself. Don't be hard on yourself. You got to fucking be nice to yourself and cut yourself some slack. And just keep fucking going. And eventually, it'll fucking get better. And even if it takes a long time. It took over a dozen years before my life started to get better. I'm so glad that I did all the work, because it eventually added up to my life being completely different, me feeling completely differently, and being more capable in the world. And it's better late than never. I mean, so even if it takes a fucking long time, like I wanted to die every single fucking day of my life ever since I was young. And I'm so glad that I did the work, because most of the time I don't feel like that anymore. I don't feel like that anymore every single fucking day, all day, every day for the rest of my life. Like, that used to be my fucking existence, and I'm no longer there. And it's possible. It's possible. And it's like, so what if it takes 20 years? You'll be happy then, and the rest of your life, it'll be so fucking worth it. It's better than living your whole fucking life miserable. It's better than being at a job forever that you fucking hate. It's better than flushing your hopes and dreams and your potential down the drain. Because it's like, I know I have a lot to give. You have a lot to give. Fucking, it's like, yeah, so you're afraid. Like you nobody has to do anything perfectly. You just and you don't even have to be better than the people you look up to. All you got to do is be the best version of you. You got to do whatever your thing is, do it in the best way that you do it. And that's all you have to do. You don't have to outdo it's not about competition. It's about cooperation. And and in learning how to cooperate just a little bit differently, not just better, not putting a value judgment on it, but just a little bit differently, things can start to shift. So anyhow, quit your fucking job if you hate it. Quit it. Tell your boss to fuck off. Fucking and quit. Go do something else. There's tons of wonderful people in the world. There's tons of wonderful jobs. There's plenty of fucking money for everybody. There's more than enough to go around. And we are the only ones that ever get in our own fucking way. And it takes a lot of work to fucking realize that. So anyhow, hope all is well. Thank you so much. Adios.